sweaters for the whole family. 60% off women's and girls' boots. And 60% off top toys. FAO Schwartz, Discovery, and Sharper Image Remote Control. Don't miss our last Christmas sale ever at Peebles. Offer exclusions apply.
A new law helps survivors of childhood sexual abuse take legal action. Jeff Anderson and Associates and attorney Greg Gianfrancaro can help. Visit itstimennewjersey.com or call confidentially today 1-800-ITS-TIME. 80 South Main Street, Phillipsburg, New Jersey, 08865.
Indeed presents this 97.3 ESPN Bet Center. I'm Tony Desiri. Some of the NBA action coming up tonight. Cleveland at Toronto. The Cavaliers plus 700 on the money line. Toronto minus 1100. Over under at 217. The Raptors are favored by 12.5. Bulls at the Thunder. Chicago plus 210 on the money line. Oklahoma City minus 250. Over under at 207. The Thunder are favored by 6. Dallas taking on Milwaukee. Mavericks without Luka Doncic, who's out with an ankle injury. Mavericks plus 550 on the money line. Milwaukee minus 800. They won 16 in a row. Over under at 227. Milwaukee favored by 11.5 points. Indeed is used by more than 3 million businesses for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. I'm Tony Desiri with your 97.3 ESPN Bet Center. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I had to fix the microphone. But we're good now. Radio home of Carson Wentz, Carter Hart, and Joel. I'll let you know when Doug shows up. That's what he is. They're idle right now.
That's fine.
Atlantic City. The following program is paper and the opinions expressed are not those of the I got that audio about the Patrick Reed caddy.
Good. Talked about that for 3 hours on Friday. Or Saturday.
The Mays and Aton Show. Middays with Harry Mays and Aton Shander. Now, it's the Midday Show with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN Radio.
It's a Victory Monday, and I don't know how thrilled people are. More maybe a matter of exhaling following that game on Sunday, in which once again we got another chance to see the Philadelphia Eagles offense in action. But of course it took, an entire game really, or at least half to kick in. We also saw, for everybody out there, once again, another wide receiver who was taken ahead of J.J. Arcega-Whiteside cruise up and down the field at ease against the Philadelphia Eagles. But then again, we end the game where we did last week, which was Carson Wentz saving the day. So it didn't even matter at that point how bad things got once again, because clearly this thing was in the hands of Carson Wentz, and he did it. Carson came back once again for 2 weeks in a row against slop teams, against the bottom of the barrel, against an offense that I think was rated 31 or maybe 32 coming into that game. But you know what? They did it again, and at the very least, even if you're upset today out there that they didn't blow away the Redskins, it's hard to be really disappointed with this football team. I understand that people wanted to see more, but I don't know how people can be truly disappointed today, the fact that you're still alive.
I thought that was a wildly entertaining football game yesterday. I took the approach of just watching it as just Joe fan. I didn't take any notes. I wasn't, charting anything or doing anything. I just sat back in my recliner down in my lair after I got back. I watched the first half out of the house. Came back and watched the second half and just enjoyed it. And yeah, there were some moments there where you think, oh my God, they're going to lose to the Redskins. Carson Wentz and this fumbleitis that he has in his entire young career. He's fumbled, I believe, 44 times in 54 games, which is unbelievable to me. Now obviously he hasn't lost all of those fumbles, but yesterday a key fumble gives the ball to the Redskins. They take the lead, and you're like, oh my God, they're going to lose to Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins looked like Joe Montana.
He was the worst-ranked starting quarterback coming into the game.
And he lit him up for a portion of that game. It was incredible. McLaurin's a stud.
They had one, but that's all. Yeah. So if you know that, right? Like if you and I are playing golf, and the only thing, golf is a bad example. If you and I are going head-to-head on something, and I can only do one thing, and you have a week to prepare for me to only do one thing, and you let me do that one thing. Well, isn't that on you more than it is on me being able to do one thing?
No, you're right. It's kind of like Ertz against the Giants on Monday night.
Yes.
You know, that's the only thing. That's where Carson Wentz goes on every big play that he needs to make a play
And
on
I'm
third
okay with
down
that.
or in the red zone. Yeah, but if you're that defense, you're like, wait, we got to take this. We got to do whatever we can to bracket this guy. Whatever, you know, chuck him at the line of scrimmage, throw off his time, whatever it is. And they didn't do it either.
No.
So yeah, it's mind-boggling. But what it ended up having is Carson Wentz leading a team back from behind late in the game, and he did it now twice in a week against, albeit, two of the worst teams in football.
They're slop. They're
But
terrible.
he is handicapped with this roster himself, and he is making plays to guys that, you know, weren't even on the team.
No,
You
practice
know?
squad.
Yeah,
That-
and the strike he threw to Miles Sanders on the run was one of the best throws that I've seen in recent memory in the NFL.
outside of that throw that he threw against the Rams where he was hurt and still completed.
Where Alshon caught it in the
Yeah.
back of the end zone.
And I think Alshon was hurt that on that same play as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Outside of that throw, the throw to Sanders. Now look, the throw to Greg Ward was exceptional.
That was a
and
good one, too.
It was a great one. But the throw to Sanders, if you add on what he did to get open, not Sanders, but Wentz to get open to then throw that football, that was the most impressive throw outside of that one to the Rams, I think, in his career.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have to go back and look at tape in his rookie year, Harry, but I think that play is Carson Wentz at his best. And I don't know if there are many people in the NFL that under that much pressure and duress can scramble and then still make that throw. Like, that's Russell Wilson.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Russell Wilson with even a bigger arm,
Yeah.
you know? Because that was a cannon
Well,
shot.
oh yeah, the laser,
I
like,
mean,
yes.
That was like Randy Johnson fastball.
Did
It was
you
unbelievable.
ever have anybody like that who, for whatever reason, would just throw so hard, so short? Like, even if it was in a catch, it could be high school football, or it could just be like a turkey day catch, and you'd have that one person who we'd be like right here, and I'll
Yeah.
explain that after.
Here's the
Doug.
coach.
Apologize for being late. Good afternoon. Do you have any, what do you, the cat's got your dog?
Do you have any updates on injuries that, you know, can you expect anybody back this week?
Good question. Good question. Everybody is trending in the right direction. I'm optimistic. You know, Lane obviously is going to be, you know, a day-to-day thing. Yeah, he is getting better. Don't expect him, you know, to do a whole lot, you know, today, tomorrow, Wednesday. Right now, we'll see where he's at later in the week. Nelly's in the same situation. Jordan's in the same situation. So really no change or no, you know, anything further with them. Who else? Barnett's is doing better. Would expect him to do something later in the week. See where he's at. Get him on land and get him going. So everybody's you know, everybody's getting there. It's a slow process, but they're healing.
You're not getting words on the game. Do you expect that if it's close, that these guys are going to try to
Yeah, you know, bottom line is I'm not going to risk further injury with anybody for a game. But if they're capable of playing in this football game, then we'll make that determination later in the week.
I don't think it hurt during the game. It didn't seem like he played much after that.
Yeah, he showed up, you know, on the injury report, and he's got some lower body right now, you know, with him that he should be fine, you know, with it. It's just going to take a couple of days here to rest and get him back on the practice field.
In most cases, his snaps were down. Was that related to concussion or was it performance related?
No, you know, I think one, the structure of you know, the offense, and then also, you know, TJ Edwards has been playing well too when he's getting some opportunities. So there's a little bit of that, you know. So keeping all those guys as fresh as possible. Plus, they're all playing special teams, so just keeping everybody as fresh as we can.
Brandon went a lot of snaps up until Carlos.
Yeah. Yeah, TJ's been doing really well. Obviously Nate's been doing well. We're getting Nigel back, you know, here the last couple games. So there's 3-4 guys there that have been playing more snaps.
Why do you think it? You guys have known about Greg Ward for years. Why do you think it took him this long to break through the way he has and kind of become such a productive player in the NFL?
Well,
This guy's giving us these gritty things to use for.
we know the type of player that Greg Ward is, and because we've seen it, day in, day out. This is it's a little bit of a tricky situation because as you're trying to construct your roster for each game, he was on practice squad to start the year, and you're trying to maybe is this the week that we can get him up, and then there might be an injury in the game that we have to make a move and bring somebody else in a spot, whether it be maybe on the defensive side or the offensive side, whatever it is, and it just didn't work out until here in the last 3-4 games. So we're excited that obviously had a chance to bring him up. We know that type of player he is, and he's proven that on the field.
Success on third down yesterday. You had 16 of them.
Too many.
Yeah. What do you guys need to do first and second down to kind of cut those down?
A couple of them were due to some penalties that backed us up, and so game put us into some third down situations there, some third and long situations. But we had a couple of negative rush plays on first down, a couple of screens that went for a negative or no gain. Those are the types of things that kind of set you up for a third and 3, 4, 5, maybe even a third and 2. So we got to do a little bit better there from an execution standpoint on first down. Let's try to stay ahead of the chains that way. But it's not a major thing that we were focused on. We did overcome some of those penalties in the game yesterday, and thought that our third down rushing yesterday was probably the best we've had all season too.
The last 2 drives for you guys, really, in the last 2 weeks. I know you guys probably wish you would have been able to put it away earlier, but what can be said for the way that you guys have won the last 2 weeks, knowing what's coming this Sunday with the Cowboys divisional?
I just think it just shows that each week you got to play for 60 minutes, and the game you play the game within the game, and there's going to be highs and lows, and then obviously for us as an offense, it's great to see the fact that they put it on their back and they go down and have a chance to win the game, and then credit the defense. We fumble the ball. The offense fumbles the ball, and we only hold them to 3 points at that point too. So you don't ever hope that it gets to that point, during the game. But I think the guys understand that it does take 60 minutes, and quite frankly, when we got the ball back at the end of the game there, I think everybody knew that we were going to go down and score and win the football game at that point. So it's a credit to the guys. They stay in the moment. Nothing's too big for them. They overcome a lot of adversity. A lot of it's self-inflicted, obviously, and they overcome it and have given themselves a chance to win, and have done that in the last 2 weeks.
Ryan's just come up with 2 of his best performances, certainly 2 of his most clutch performances over the last 2 weeks without several of his primary targets. What does that say about his development? What does that say to you where he is?
He's doing some really nice things for us, and he's one of the things that I might have mentioned it after the game or maybe this morning on the radio is just that he's understanding the offense and where everybody is, and spreading the ball around. Of course our running attack has helped that. The screen game has helped that, and that just comes from me calling more of those plays for him and helping him be successful there. But he's just he's maturing that way, and it's really good to see. He's understanding the game, and it takes time. This is with young quarterbacks and young players in this league. It takes time, and that's where he's headed, and it's really has been good to see the last couple of weeks, especially the overtime win there with New York, and then this week to really put the team on his shoulders and say, hey, let's go win the game.
As a follow-up to that, do you find yourself as a play caller
tendencies and your personnel, and they're going to have a beat on you. So you have to be a little creative and move some guys around and use different personnel groups and use the strengths of each player too to your advantage. And that's what we've been able to do the last couple of weeks. It's helped us.
That was the greatest, the biggest variation in personnel groups we've seen from you this year. Do you sort of relish that opportunity to get creative? What is the the Monday, Tuesday game planning
I think
process
it's a
like?
fine line on how much you want to be creative, especially with some young players on offense. You don't want to get so creative that you're putting too much in, and then it becomes a mental block for a lot of these guys. But at the same time, we know that we have to do some things to take advantage of our strengths on offense and put people in position. So we find out that's what these first couple of days of the week are for, is to put that together.
You haven't had a lot of success recently against the Cowboys.
Thank you.
How much does that gnaw at you? How much does that gnaw at you, the Cowboys, and how is that going to
Something going on there?
that much more fun?
Listen, we just they got us the last time, and they
Sounds like it was
they
like
kicked our tail, and they had a great game
Johnson
plan.
out.
Yeah.
And we listen. It's
Not us.
We just gotta come prepared each day this week, and study the tape. Coaches have got to have a great game plan, obviously, and they've got our players have got to understand the game plan, how we're trying to either attack or defend the Cowboys, and then go play. And we're here at week 16, and again, like I said, there's a lot of tape out there. Another division opponent. There's probably a little more obviously on the line this week than most weeks, but it's where we are right now. And we've dug this hole, but we're slowly climbing out of it, and we're excited for the opportunity.
Just getting back to that, it was just couldn't seem like there was more of a limited scope yesterday. There wasn't a lot of targets for some of the other guys. I think some guys have caught passes last week. Can you continue to win that way, or do you think you have to kind of expand that and get more guys involved?
Well, the easy answer would be to expand that.
Will you?
Yes.
Carson, as the second
might be young by age or experience in this league, but they don't consider themselves young, and that's a positive. That's they consider themselves as veterans, and they've been in a lot of games here, a lot of big games here down the stretch, and nothing seems too big, for these guys right now. And you've seen Miles and his progression throughout the course of the season, and how he's getting better, and how Boston is getting better, and Greg has just made his impact here in the last couple of weeks. So, like I said, they might be young, but they don't feel young. They don't want to consider themselves as young. They're veteran players, and that's a credit to them. And nothing's too big for them right now.
Is there a developing relationship or developed relationship between Carson and Miles that maybe we don't get to see until game day that you see in practice? And what does that mean if that's so? What does that mean for the future of this franchise when you have a young running back and a young quarterback who can kind of grow together? And you've seen that, what that means in the past for others.
No, I mean it's encouraging. Obviously not only for the remainder of this season, for I think the future and the near future. But that's what you got to have. You got to have, to be successful, and the teams that are successful in this league and can sustain that success. I think quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers, and in our case tight ends, having that nucleus of guys around the quarterback, you can sustain that success, I believe. And I saw it in Green Bay, when we had back-to-back NFC Championship games and 2 Super Bowls back-to-back, and you just look at the history of the league, and it seems like those core guys are together a lot, and we just hope that as we grow with Carson and Miles, that we just continue to add pieces to that.
Did you see this potential?
There's 2 more.
I mean, you saw the potential, you saw the talent, obviously, but
Just the last one.
I thought the last one was last week.
It's I don't want to say it's a surprise, but it's just encouraging to see the success that Miles has had. Because really when you go back a few weeks when Jordan was in there, you didn't see Miles, right, as much, or making some of the plays that he's making now. And now that he's kind of been the guy, you're seeing more and more of him, and his versatility, both running and catching the football, has made an impact and really helped us win these last couple of games.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, there's Doug Peterson. I imagine that after all of that, there's some, I don't know. This felt like last week. No, I should say that. It didn't feel like last week. It felt like it was before the Miami loss. I think it was the Patriots or maybe the Seahawks.
Well, it was
game.
Patriots, Seahawks, then Miami.
Right. And it was one of those games where it didn't matter at that point. It might have been the Patriots, maybe the Seahawks lost. Like, all right, win, loss aside, just get me through 12-20 so we can talk about it. And I kind of felt like that today, not for anything wrong or bad or negative with what Doug said or what the Eagles did, but we knew for the last 2 weeks this game mattered. And all the last 2 weeks did was just keep that conversation alive.
Yeah.
That's all it did. It didn't do anything more like that.
Nothing. It's all about the Dallas game. They got to win out. And that's really what it is. You were thinking maybe you could get another gift yesterday with the Los Angeles Rams going into Dallas as a favorite. They got boat raced. That Dallas, that's the one thing, and I know we got a long week to talk about this.
Yes.
That's the one thing, well, not the one thing. That's one of many things about this game where you're like, oh, damn, Dallas just woke up. Like, things started to click yesterday for the Dallas Cowboys.
That Rams team was hot.
Yeah.
Coming into it. And Dak Prescott, look, Tony
They
Pollard,
rolled the ball right
I was
up
just
their
going to say
intestines.
that. Right down their
Jesus.
keister. You would like to think that the Eagles may take note. There's one good thing that comes from yesterday that I think gives you hope in that regard with the Cowboys game. But yeah, man, like, my God. The Cowboys are on fire after that game. The Eagles are alive, so you have that. But really, from yesterday, I don't think that we just gloss over what happened simply because they won the football game. Much like we didn't gloss over what happened against the Giants simply because they won the football game.
There's a lot to unpack, and we'll do it. But so many of the great Philly football fans have joined us and the home team, my team, our team, at Parks Casino and Sportsbook. Parks has you covered for sports betting online with the Sportsbook app. I was using it all weekend long with the golf and the football. It's just fantastic. Or in person at the beautiful Sportsbook, where you find us each and every Friday in Ben Salem. Parks Casino and Sportsbook, my casino of choice, and the only sportsbook backed by the #1 casino in Pennsylvania. And they're not based overseas or out of town. It's right here in the Delaware Valley. Of course, football, we're heading to these, big important games in the NFL. We got bowl season starting up here in a couple of days. The Eagles hosting the Cowboys as 2.5-point underdogs. You got to get in on this action. You got to download the app in the App Store. Just go to parkscasino.com/PA. Use our promo code SWEEP, and you'll get up to a $500 risk-free bet. That's parkscasino.com/PA. Promo code SWEEP. Must be 21 and in PA. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You're listening to the Maze and Aton Show, presented by Dry Guys of South Jersey. Go to dryguysonair.com and get the help you need with your wet basement. dryguysonair.com.
It's the Monday night
Oh,
countdown
man.
to kickoff.
How about this shit with the Army
Oh, yeah.
cadets with the white supremacists?
Oh, I
see that?
No, I thought you were going to say something else.
Dude, it's blowing up.
Yeah,
They
I
were-
saw the story, but I didn't.
There were two guys right behind Reese
Reese,
Davis that were, doing the thing downward, which I guess is what people say that is. How fucked up is that?
Yeah, I hear it. I saw this here. This guy right here.
Yeah.
Manchester Star points out someone was banned from Wrigley Field. Who's writing this?
Well, yeah, somebody got banned for doing that at Wrigley Field, I think. Like last summer or something. I don't know.
That used to be the circle game.
That's what they're talking about. I don't know. What the fuck's a circle game? People punch you?
Yeah, if it's
Like if you look at it?
yeah. You used to do that where I would be talking to you the whole time, and I'd have this thing on my thigh, and if you look down,
Then you
it's like some
punch.
college, high school stupid shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never did it. That was
No,
later
no.
than me. But
Yeah. I think you just missed it though, because
Yeah.
people like a year or two younger than me in college were still doing it, and I was just like, really? I remember that shit, but that's how it always was.
I was reading about that. That's the only reason I know what that is.
This football season, visit the Great American Pub, where you'll find good food, great times, and good football. Any way you like it. It all comes together at the Great American Pub. Catch the game at any of the 3 Great
Well, the
American
Raiders
Pub
fucked me.
locations in Conshohocken.
Oh, I don't know how.
My 14 teaser was in the bank, and they fucked me. And they got screwed too.
With the challenge?
Yeah. Well, you can't challenge. How did they freaking call him out of bounds? He was giving himself up. He slid in bounds. It was a first down. Therefore, they should have ran the clock to the 2-minute warning. If they have a first down, they run the ball. They essentially could almost run the clock out and then kick a field goal from closer in if they want to.
Yep.
They would have covered the 5.
They definitely would have done that.
They would have
yeah.
won by 6.
You gotta win.
It's a total joke. That's 2 weeks in a row that I've been fucked by the officials. New England and the Raiders.
I didn't think Julio Jones cracked the plane on that.
Oh yeah,
touchdown.
he did. Oh yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. I took Atlanta in game.
Well, I got Atlanta to cover, but I had a round robin of 3 bet parlays that were all heavy favorites. So all of the heaviest favorites in there, and of course the Niners. But the bigger one was the Falcons hit. So yesterday I took the Skins because I was at Harris. So I took the Skins first half.
You were at Harris again?
It was the one day. It was only that one day that was there. It was just that one day yesterday.
I thought it was just one day last week.
No. I put the tweet out saying that I would be there on Sunday last week.
Oh, so you weren't there last week?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, see, I thought you were there last
No,
week.
not at all. So I got the Skins first half money line, and I got the Skins first half 3-way money line with OT in there.
Yeah.
And then I turned around and I flipped that on the Eagles minus, I think they were minus 3.5 at the half.
In game?
Yeah, in game. And yesterday I split because I took Dalvin Cook got hurt,
Yeah.
and that dropped the in game to 8.5. Vikings were up 15 points, and they were minus 8.5 in game because of the Cook injury. So I jumped on that. But then I took the Rams plus 18.5 in game, and they still, no, I think it was 17.
Dude, I had Seattle. Seattle's up 30-10 with 7 minutes to fucking go.
What did you get them at, though?
6. I got it on Monday.
Is that what it closed at?
Yeah. They fucking
Stop.
push.
Stop. Yeah, I saw that. I was going back and forth with Peralta about that on Wednesday. And I was getting him, I was trying to corner him to take Carolina at 4. But he was like, nope, I'm going to wait. I can't believe it. I don't know what's worse, Carolina coming back and pushing that or Jacksonville winning that game. I mean, Jacksonville had no business winning that game.
No.
Ace. Enough, please. Enough.
And I had Seattle in the teaser, too, so I moved them to +1. I had the Raiders at
That's not bad,
+2. Raiders were +2.
That didn't cover.
No. But it would have.
Seattle +1 covered, though.
But it would have. Yeah, the Redskins +11.5, Seattle, and the Patriots. I had 3 of the 4 legs going into the Raiders game.
Patriots were smart, though. Because so much of the public was all over that, and people were tempted to bail. But they...
Their second half, they turned them over like 5 times. I think.
4 picks for Dawson.
Yeah.
Listening to Mays and Aton with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
So, we do have the Philadelphia Eagles game that we'll break down and continue to break down. And since we only have 2 hours, it's tough to throw other stuff in here. But I talked about a story over on one of my other shows over the weekend and researched it enough to where I feel confident and comfortable bringing it up to the point where if you were to disagree with me, I'd have enough to go back and forth for a little bit at least. I'm not saying that I can go and sit here and this is going to be a conversation on who to blame for Greg Ward not coming up earlier. I feel like you and I can talk about that alone for 2 hours. But this story that came from Melbourne, Australia must be brought up today on the show.
Okay.
John S. from Abington on the Twitch channel, Mays and Aton. And if you're watching, we'll do this through the new year. We're going to gift a subscription every day. People like Trevor from the 203 hitting us up with bits and stuff. So we're going to continue to pay attention to that. But he says, Mays, what do you think of Reed's caddy fighting a fan? We have to at least respond to what we heard first from the prior segment. But how about in the next segment, before we hit 1 o'clock, we bring that up?
All right.
Because I think you might be shocked to hear where I stand on this story. And I'm definitely curious, as are everybody else listening, our audience, on where you stand on that story.
Well, I bet Patrick Reed on Saturday in the singles matches. I knew you were going to get his best effort because that's the way that guy is. He's weird. Like, he's wired differently. And
Saturday was the last day.
Yeah, that was the last day. That's where he didn't have his caddy because that guy was thrown out.
Correct.
So he had his swing coach on the big.
Yeah.
So I like that, too.
Okay.
But anyway, we'll talk about it.
Now, speaking of which, we should lead with what was probably the biggest storyline nationally to come across out of the Eagles game.
Okay.
And that was the meaningless, if you even think that's a term anymore, which it isn't, touchdown by Nigel Bradham at the end.
Unbelievable. I had to count my points because I had the Redskins in a teaser plus 11.5.
Thankfully.
Like, oh, no, I'm still good.
Thankfully.
But imagine having the Eagles minus 6.5 and you get that. That's an early Christmas.
It is an amazing present right there. And here's the thing. There was another shock, and I put out a tweet because I didn't even see it. You know, paying attention to the in-game lines, especially on a Sunday, I feel like we're both pretty in tune with it.
Yeah.
But it was a game you lost. I don't know if you saw at the height in what Jacksonville was, but I think there was a guy who responded on Twitter that said he had them at plus 600 at one point, down 16-3 at the half.
Okay. Wow, good for him.
Now that I think
Yeah.
was okay.
The
So
Raiders got screwed. I got screwed again 2 weeks in a row by the officials.
yeah, look,
Because that slide was in bounds. That's a first down. That clock runs to the 2-minute warning, and you basically run the game out.
I stand corrected. At True Phil's fan, E29F got it when it was 16-3 at plus 900.
Well, good for you. I'm glad it worked out for you. I like when people win.
Me
that
too.
Listen to our show.
Me too.
But I'll tell you, on my side of it, I got screwed again.
John Gruden, he owes a lot of people an apology. You wanted me to apologize to John Gruden? He and that team has fallen off the face.
Well, how about Derek Carr got booed off the field after he tried to slap hands with people over in the black hole? They were like, get out of here.
They're like, go to Vegas.
Go to Vegas.
So what was more of a shock? I bring that up because what was more of a shock? Was it the Eagles covering that with the Nigel Bradham TD, or was it the Jags who were down at plus 900 at one point coming back?
No, I think it's got to be the Nigel Bradham. I mean, the final play of the game. They finally get, pressure on Haskins. He fumbles the ball. They didn't sack him at all yesterday. This guy I think, was sacked 25 times coming into that game, and he's only had, a couple of appearances and 5 starts. I mean, he had 25 sacks and 88 completed passes coming into the game yesterday. They didn't get him once.
No.
But at the end of the game, it's just everything's going crazy. He fumbles the ball, and Bradham, to pick up the ball and run it in, that was unbelievable.
I think
I couldn't believe it happened.
if you had gotten to him, to your point, if they had gotten to him or put any pressure on him earlier in the game, it's almost like, all right, it's only a matter of time, guys, come on.
He looked good yesterday.
But it was such a difference from what we saw from Haskins all game, that final play. It was almost like, oh, really? Like, it was a head scratcher that he would fumble and lose the ball, and the Eagles, to your point, who had no success pressuring him, would be able to score on that.
I thought that was going to happen 2 or 3 times yesterday.
Easily.
We were going to get a couple strip sacks
No, you're
and
right.
all this stuff. It didn't happen until the very last play, and it helped the Eagles cover.
So,
unbelievable.
2 things that I think you kind of have to deal with right now. Before you even get to Dallas, forget Dallas. Monday is really, I think, about this game. And yes, we know Dallas is looming out there. But here's the thing. Carson Wentz represents everything that's positive with the Eagles right now. It's not just Wentz and his ability to lead the team. We saw 2 straight times. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You now feel confident that if Carson Wentz has the ball in his hands in the final drive, you need a field goal or touchdown, you're good. Like, you feel good again about that offense. On the flip side, the defense wasn't down many guys, Harry.
No, I know.
Derek Barnett, I think, was the only guy down.
He's missing a lot of games.
Okay, that's a good point to raise.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. That looked like the defense they wanted to go into the regular season with.
I know. Well, Avonte Maddox takes a bad angle and misses the tackle on McLaurin, which turns into a huge play for a touchdown. That's number one. But the other thing is not being able to get to Haskins, because he's not a guy who's a great runner. You know what I mean? He's not super athletic in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? He's sort of like Jameis Winston to me. Does he remind you a little bit of that, where he's not a great runner with the ball, to evade pressure kind of thing. He kind of runs himself into pressure a lot of times. His awareness isn't that great.
Pressure.
Yeah. So I'm thinking they're going to sack him 4 or 5 times Sunday.
Yeah,
He'll probably fumble a couple of times. He'll throw a couple picks. None of that happened. Well, he had the one fumble at the end.
That was it, though.
Yeah.
And, in fact, he looked really comfortable. And
He
it wasn't
did.
just to McLaurin. Look, Steve Sims.
Yeah, how about this Sims guy from Kansas?
Unbelievable.
From that football factory of Kansas.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Again, that's the biggest concern.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we've seen this now a couple of weeks, 2 of the last 3 weeks. If you really want to look at it, it's 2 of the last 3 weeks as far as a game is concerned, and that first half of the Giants, where you've got for the most part, a healthy defensive unit out there giving up plays, big plays, Mike.
Yeah.
And look, I hate to say it because, again, I don't want to break any rule here, but Darius Slayton, good young receiver. Terry McLaurin, good young receiver. Amari Cooper, seasoned veteran.
Yeah, exactly.
Look,
Gallup
Michael
is
Gallup.
decent.
Gallup's
Gallup's
decent. Yeah. Michael, look, you do not want to have a situation where Randall Cobb now looks like days of old, like he's stomping down the field
With Green Bay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want that situation, but they'll throw. that's the biggest issue that I balance right now is how do I feel about the last 3 weeks, factoring in that Miami game as well, where the defense has not done much to give you confidence. Yet, on the flip side, Harry, the offense has done everything despite not having their top guys.
Yeah, and that's
it doesn't make sense.
You got to feel good about the quarterback right now.
Great about
you really
the
got to
quarterback.
feel good about him. But you're right about this defense. Like, you're thinking that this is the game where they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to get a turnover or two. The special teams is going to have to, pin Dallas deep into their own end a few times, or get a nice, punt return, kick return that doesn't get called back. Give yourself some short fields. Like this is going to have to be a total collective effort to beat Dallas right now, coming off their best performance of the year.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like the defense hasn't turned people over enough this year. They haven't gotten enough sacks this year. They're going to have to get both of those on Sunday.
Yeah, and that's an ask, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I think
agree.
that's probably too much of an ask right now. On the flip side, and it's even crazy to bring this up because that Niners-Saints game we saw 2 weeks ago, but even if you're getting somewhat of this over-the-top, overachieving offensive production from Wentz in that unit, and you're in some sort of shootout with the Cowboys here Sunday afternoon, at least you have enough now to say, all right, man, Carson Wentz with the football, 2:20 left, down 4, I feel good.
Yes.
I mean, they're really...
Yeah. Now, you're playing a much better defense.
Yes.
Dallas got really good linebackers. They got a pretty good front. They got better corners than the Giants. I know Dunbar is a really good corner, and but he was banged up over the weekend. They matched up Greg Ward on
who?
I can't even think of his name, from Carolina, the loudmouth.
Oh, Josh Norman.
Josh Norman,
Yeah.
who I know he's not.
Well, Norman came
healthy,
in, right?
But yeah, they got him matched up for the winning play.
Yep.
And that was a nice throw. Now I know Carson missed a throw that he should have had to Ertz, a touch throw.
Right.
We've seen him airmail those routinely, but the one that he threw into Ward was really a nice throw and a good route by the kid.
Yeah, and it wasn't a situation here where Carson Wentz was making so many bad throws or decisions in the first half that he had to pull himself out of that
his own hole that he created.
Right, exactly.
We love those comebacks, don't we?
We haven't seen one of those really since, was it Seattle? I mean, look, Miami, they were moving the football for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And the last 2 weeks, I guess the first half of the Giants, you're like, what the hell's going on? Look, they lost the first half to the Skins, Harry. And I know that because I bet it.
Amari Cooper, 5 receptions, 106 yards. His longest was 44. He was targeted 5 times, caught them all. That was his
Did he
production.
even score?
No.
Yeah.
He didn't score.
That's how quiet and deadly. That's a snake in the grass right there.
Blake Jarwin scored a
Oh, yeah,
touchdown.
you
Remember
cannot.
him?
Backup tight end.
Yeah, and Tavon Austin had one.
Well, Tavon Austin was wide open because 2 Rams bumped into each other.
No, I'm talking about against the Eagles. I was reading stats from when the Cowboys played the Eagles a couple weeks ago.
I thought you were talking about that Tavon
Austin.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Man, I hate to say it, but that was a hell of a play by Dak Prescott. Not the throw, but being able to get open. All right, 2 things I want to bring up with you. The Patrick Reed audio, we have that, where we stand on that. And also, the Army football coach should be fired.
Monken
should be fired on the spot. He should not have been allowed out of that stadium.
I told you, Navy. I tried to
No.
talk to you guys.
I took Navy. I hit
you
Navy.
did?
I'm fine. But I'm saying it was a total lack of sportsmanship, and Navy turned around and shoved it up Army's ass.
Wow.
Back after this.
Listen to 93 Ton.
Oh, do you hear that noise?
Download the 97.3
No?
ESPN mobile
No.
app now. 97.3ESPN.com/app. South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey is 97.3 ESPN. Listen as Tim Saunders and Steve Coates call all the action tomorrow night.
Listen to Flyers Ducks. Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
This is South Jersey's Flyers Station, 97.3 ESPN. Brought to you by Gentilini Motors, 500 John Penn Boulevard, next to the airport in Woodbine. I am so ready for football season. Are you? You better be college with a huge day on Saturday, pro football on Sunday
now in the App Store. Go to parkscasino.com.
As we welcome you back to Fox NFL Sunday, Jake Laser joins us from the football broadcast story that's bigger, making and getting bigger. Now, you had the original Spygate tape from the New England Patriots back in 2007. Some people are calling what happened this week Spygate 2. New England and a videographer followed the return to the Patriots. Bengals, their security guys apparently, there's more to it than that. Right, there's a confrontation there with the Bengals and the Patriots employee. And I want to show right now we have exclusive footage of this confrontation. And you see right here, the Bengals, their security guys actually filming what the Patriots are filming. And that was their sideline, their substitution. There's actually 8 minutes of this on the tape. But this is where things take a turn for the Patriots.
This is a piece you're filming on your advanced scout? Yeah. Come on, guys. I don't see the advanced scout in this footage. It's not. I'm trying to get something like that. That's not the field. That's why you would think you could take that.
See this?
So Bengals security immediately brought over NFL security. That was immediately given to the league office, and as a result, yes, they're launching an investigation. This week, the league made extradition orders.
People who saw that tape were on like national stuff and said that, or quoted off like a report, said that it wasn't a big deal. Like there's nothing that they saw in that tape that could be used. I don't know. I mean, they've been doing radio signaling for over a decade now, so I don't know what they were really.
Well, it's similar to Patrick Reed. It's like your past history,
Yeah.
Comes up, and it's like, yeah, he knew what he was doing in the bunker. He was moving sand, and he know he was moving sand because he's cheated before.
Right.
These guys, you're taking video of a sideline, has nothing to do with an advanced scout watching substitutions and stuff. It's like they've done this before. They've cheated. They've filmed walkthroughs. They've spied the whole thing. This is what they do.
Yeah, and I just don't know what filming.
I don't know what you can glean from it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but does that even matter? Like, they didn't tell the Bengals either.
But they told the Browns.
Right, but they weren't filming the Browns.
No, but it was the Browns game.
Right, because it was in Cleveland.
Right.
Yeah. And they're playing this team the next week. I mean, it's like...
I just don't know what they could get when you've got... Like, they don't signal anymore.
No, because you've got the headsets
The radio
and the
signal,
phones.
right.
And the
Same thing with
helmets.
defense. So I don't know. All right, let's listen to this Patrick Reed audio Well, I should. You heard the audio. See, I don't know what piece of audio, because again, I was talking about it over the weekend. We didn't play any audio as it just came. I was talking about it as it happened.
Yeah, I don't know what audio you're talking about. I mean, I was watching a lot of the golf, but
Josh said he has Patrick Reed audio, so I
Okay.
assumed that was audio you sent him.
did I send this to you, Josh?
Or did I send it?
You sent it. You don't even realize you sent it.
Well, here's the thing. To be fair, this is not like an Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, or Phillies thing. This is something that is directly up your alley.
Right, but I didn't send it.
No. Nah, I didn't send it. I sent it. I apologize. Now, I must have sent this on Saturday.
Okay. Saturday.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
So I knew you would open it. Not you, Josh, Harry. So I forget now, and you've heard this audio, Josh, as you've put it in the system. Thank you. Do I need to set the scene, or will the audio fill in the detail?
I'll set the scene for you. Ready?
Yes.
Michael Collins of ESPN reports on the Patrick Reed caddy incident. Take a listen.
So number one, I gotta be honest with everybody. I'm not in Australia, but I was on the phone last night with Kessler Corain talking about the incident and what happened, and actually got a text message super early this morning from Patrick Reed, who also wanted to make it very clear that from the two of them, Patrick and Kessler, he did not punch a fan in the altercation. Kessler talked about shoving the fan. Basically what happened was, for 3 days, they have been subject to some severe vulgar language. Now, everybody knows there's heckling in sports, and there's even heckling in golf, which you wouldn't think of, but there is. What was happening was abusive language to both of them, and at one point, Kessler had enough when they were leaving the golf course yesterday. Kessler jumped off the golf course, off the golf cart, shoved the fan, and the fan spilled his beer. So that is what they're telling me happened, and that has also been verified for people that were there.
All right. So a couple of things. First off, it's very rare that a public figure will offer up their side of the story in which they willingly will give you, I struck first. And that's what the caddy told Michael Collins.
He
which
shoved
is,
him.
I got off the thing.
Right.
Now, and this is where we should fill in the blank for people. Not more than a week ago, this man, Patrick Reed, was caught on film twice.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you improve your life, sir?
Yeah.
Kicking a ball out of the sand.
No, he didn't kick in a ball. He was moving the sand with his wedge to improve his
No,
lie.
That's from the caddy shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Prove your lie, sir. So yes, but he denied it.
Yeah.
And then the video comes out, and he looks like the Patriots.
See, now it was a waste area too. You can ground your club in a waste area. You can't in a bunker, but still, you can't improve your lie by moving sand like he was doing
Twice.
And he knew what he was doing.
Absolutely.
You know?
Now, you can speak on this. This is not somebody that struggles to make the cut. This is a man who won the Masters
yeah.
in 2018.
Right.
This is akin to now opening up this big can of worms about the Patriots. Well, why would you be cheating against the Bengals? Well, why would you be doing this in the Bahamas when you're a Masters winner?
Well, this guy, it goes back to even college. There were allegations of him cheating in college. Allegations of him stealing stuff out of teammates' lockers and stuff. He got thrown out of the University of Georgia, thrown off the team, so he goes to Augusta State, and then led them to the national championship. I think. I mean, he's a really good player, but there's something wrong with this guy. He's a jerk.
He's a dirtbag.
He is.
He is.
There's something he doesn't speak to his parents. Like there's all kinds of stuff. Like
he's got Aaron Rodgers.
There's a little bit of that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
This
going
is what
back
Aaron
with
Rodgers would be if he were to golf.
Well, Aaron Rodgers does golf. He's actually pretty good.
No, but Patrick Reed's pretty good too.
Yeah.
You know, I guess you're talking about personality-wise.
Yeah.
All right, so let me just say this. I'll throw the first shot here. I don't have a problem with. Okay, if it's Ricky Fowler, Tiger Woods, even Tiger, I think at this point, like, dude, get over it. Phil Mickelson, if you're out there going to Phil Mickelson, who's driving by in his caddy, I don't care if you're in Korea or Melbourne or wherever, and you say, hey, Phil, you bleeping suck. Look, as much as I fought for fans for the right to say that, it's ridiculous. But in this particular case, like, what was Patrick Reed thinking would happen when he goes out there on the course? He wouldn't get heckled?
He had to know it was gonna be rough. the caddy can't put his hands on it.
No.
He just can't.
I
mean,
think the fan was right to say you bleeping suck.
Yeah, but that's fine. Hey, that happens.
It's
And
not
that
something
happens-
in a golf thing, but
That happens even when you're not a guy that's been moving sand the week before. I mean, I've had a buddy thrown out of the Players' Championship for heckling Ian Poulter.
is that right?
Yeah, Poulter pointed right at him and said, "There he is, get him out."
What
And
was he
they
saying
threw
to
him-
Poulter?
all kinds of stuff.
Stuff you can't
He was
say.
hammered.
Okay, well, let me ask you, was it like borderline offensive stuff?
Yes, probably.
Okay.
Coming from this guy.
Okay, well, okay,
But
that's
he was,
why I asked.
he was thrown off the premises.
But you should be able to say, "Hey, Poulter,
Yeah.
Poulter misses an 8-foot putt. Hey, Poulter, you bleeping suck."
yeah, he gets that all the time.
Yeah, but you should be able to say that as a fan. Now, here's the thing: the proximity. These guys clearly lost their minds. Both Reed and the caddy.
Well, they were on a cart going
Correct.
through the crowd
Correct.
to try to go back, because the round was over. He had
Yes.
just lost.
Yes. So now, I'll say this: if you don't know Patrick Reed's history and you have no idea who Patrick Reed is, the initial reaction to this story is, "Wow, I want that caddy caddying for me
Well,
everywhere I go."
It's his brother-in-law, too.
Right.
Tiger Woods' caddy back in the day, Stevie Williams, was a very physically imposing dude and would play bouncer. He had to play bouncer many times.
Not fluff.
No. Stevie Williams. This is the guy from the New Zealander, I believe is what he was.
Bald head guy?
Big, strong guy. No, he had hair.
Okay.
But he would, walk up and take, cameras from people. And I don't think he ever shoved anybody or punched anybody.
No.
But the threat was there. Like, if you messed with Tiger too much, you're going to have to deal with Stevie.
I always remember Tiger bitching and complaining, which I imagine is a pain in the ass, about this snapping of the cameras.
The cameras, yeah.
Because it was
And
like
camera phones and
I mean,
so
it's
forth.
like,
yeah.
dude, you gotta be again. Like, I imagine that would mess your backswing.
You
up
could,
a
yeah,
little bit.
absolutely.
All right, so are we both on the same page here? That Reed kind of deserved the you believe in
Well, you
suck?
knew it was going to happen, and the caddy can't put his hands on anybody.
Was this happening to other golfers as well? Was this like a widespread thing?
That
or
was,
it just
it was
Reed?
mostly on Reed. And Webb Simpson caught some of the collateral damage because he was in his group 3 times.
Biggest takeaway from the Eagles game next.
This football season, visit the Great American Pub, where you'll find
Oh,
good
man.
food, great times, and
That's
good
great.
football. Any way you like it. It all comes together at the Great American
You
Pub. Catch the
bleeping
game at
suck.
any of the 3 Great American Pub
Yeah, my
locations.
buddy Doc, who we've had on the show, the horse
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
He was thrown out of the Players' Championship for
insane.
yelling at Poulter.
That is insane.
Good football, meaning your weekends are covered from start to finish. The Great American Pub, the preferred location of the Mays and Aton Show. Make your next game out at the Great American Pub.
Dry Guys of South Jersey wants to know if you have sticking doors and windows. If so, it could be a foundation problem.
Last 42 bets. This guy's 31 and 11. 3 and 1 in week 15.
Foundation walls. If your home is settling, Dry Guys
He was with CBS for a while, and then they let him go.
470-4808, 844-470-4808, or visit dryguysonair.com. Take the first step. You'll be glad you did. Go to dryguysonair.com.
Heard it work? Go right now to injuredworkers.com. When you're injured on the job, your family is injured as well. Turn to a firm of legal attorneys that can help, that care, and that you can count on. Go to injuredworkers.com from Malamut and Associates. Nobody plans to get injured. When it happens, you need injuredworkers.com. Get the help you need from injuredworkers.com. Go to injuredworkers.com right now.
Get to the landmark Americana in the heart of Glassboro for what will be a great football experience, a great nightlife experience, or anything you want it to be.
So I guess Bruno did the show from the fucking car, driving down to the stadium.
I thought it was a bus.
Well, he wasn't on the bus. He was in a car that was driving along with the bus. All the people were on the bus.
That's kind of a ripoff, isn't it?
Kind of.
For the people on the bus.
Yeah, I don't know why he wouldn't have been on the bus.
No.
This football season, who knows?
How was he doing the show?
I don't know.
Wi-Fi?
I don't even know. I gotta ask him.
Hotspot?
Kraus didn't go though. Kraus stayed at Toll Man Joe's because my buddy Kevin went down there to meet Toll Man Joe's, the owner, and
Yeah.
some people, and he said that he said it was pretty crazy down there.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Now, did you see?
Why would he?
Did you see Kraus on Twitter?
No.
He was tweeting at Dan Sileo.
So guess who? So Cilio is going to be
doing, I guess he's got Cilio doing some stuff now.
Where?
On 97.3.
From the West Coast?
Isn't he still? Yeah, I guess once, he said once, I think once either the Eagle season or the football season is over, Bruno is done. So he's got Cilio now set to do, and he might have Cilio fill in for us on Christmas Day, the day after Christmas.
Is Gil good with it? Because when Josh was doing Gil said no.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a player.
Isn't Cilio kind of toxic?
He's a little bit. Yeah. And as toxic as he's been, he only has 10,000 Twitter followers.
Really? I feel like he's been around forever.
He has. He has.
That's like a rich man's Dino.
I mean, he played football in the 70s and 80s. The 80s
Did
with
he?
Tampa Bay. Yeah, he was with the Miami Hurricanes, and then he was with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Yeah, he was like, I think he was a linebacker or something. Yeah, he's 55, so he's my age. So yeah, he played in the 80s. Dan Cilio Show on Twitter. Look it up. You'll see.
Wow.
He's verified.
Oh,
10.8.
really?
Yeah, and he's fucking verified. Don't be tweeting. It didn't even say anything.
No, it's
Like it wasn't like it was groundbreaking.
right because it's the retweet on the Fanatic. I'm telling you, that thing, it's ridiculous, man. Because so many people, and I think they're just like they don't follow many accounts. It's like if you look at a lot of the people that follow the Fanatic, it's like 66 followers, 69, 72, something like that following. So they don't have many people that they're following on their timeline, so they probably just see Fanatic retweets over and over and over again. So it's like, oh yeah, another one. It's crazy. That's
WENJHD, Millville, Atlantic City. The Jacob Media Sports Network, in partnership with 97.3 ESPN, brings you the Mays and Aton Show. Middays with Harry Mays and Aton Shander. Now, it's the Midday Show with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN Radio.
Second hour for us, and we begin where we began last hour before we were rudely interrupted by Doug Peterson. And that's the Philadelphia Eagles have survived. Don't worry about what the Dallas Cowboys did yesterday against the LA Rams. Not until tomorrow. Can we do that? No,
yes.
I'm asking. No,
No,
I'm not suggesting. Honestly, if you don't think we can, Harry, you let me know.
No, we'll do that. We'll start that tomorrow. We'll have Lombo tomorrow. We'll start looking towards next week. But I just got to ask you this one question: would you have rather had Dallas lose yesterday, or what happened, where they not only they won, they played really well and kind of had their best game of they had their best game of the season against a good opponent too.
Right. Well, wouldn't we all want Dallas to lose yesterday?
Well, I'm just saying because you still would need to beat them. I'm just saying, like, is it as far as like coming into the next game? Because it's very hard. We like to think that you can take what you did the previous Sunday and it'll automatically just be there again the next Sunday. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So the fact that they played their best game, does that intimidate you as an Eagles supporter, or is it like, no big deal?
I think that it's impossible for me to truly ignore that offense clicking against the Rams when the defense has yet to click in probably a month. At least for a full game or maybe even a full half even. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would much rather Dallas lose and feel much more confident about, all right, it's going to be a tight divisional game. Neither one of these teams are going to take huge risks. Let's just see what can happen. You've got Miles Sanders. Let's just see what happens in that regard. But now, how can you not be concerned, at the very least,
I am,
with the defense here in Philadelphia up against that offense?
Well, especially with what, they allowed Haskins to move the football.
with ease.
Yeah, for portions of that game, like they looked really competent on offense, and I can't attribute that to just them all of a sudden figuring it out. That is Schwartz and the defense allowing it.
Right, with a week to prepare, that did not make much sense at all when you knew they had one real big weapon. And look, Adrian Peterson is going to run hard until they cart him off the field again. But
he might die on the field.
Seriously,
that guy.
like he's like Iverson,
really
where it's like, dude, when is this guy going to retire? Because somebody needs to tell him, like, hey man, you can play at a high level still. We get that.
Or like some radio hosts.
Yeah,
they're just never going to go away.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, I don't know. Keep signing extensions after extensions. Not going to change that. But I don't know. It's an interesting game because you've got the biggest storyline of them all is Carson and what comes underneath that. And look, it's not just Carson Wentz. Greg Ward is playing like every snap is his last snap.
I'll tell you, he had 50-some-odd snaps yesterday. To think that guy was buried on the practice squad because we had to play Mac Hollins. That pisses me off.
I heard somebody this morning. I
Mac Hollins and Aguilar are giving you nothing.
I know, and it's ridiculous. And I saw somebody on Twitter want to blame the position coach, Carson Walsh.
Oh, the wide receivers coach? Yeah. He's another Carson.
Yeah. Now, first off, look, you've never played Mario Kart, so I don't expect you to get this reference. But the Philadelphia Eagles should fire that guy simply because his name is too close to Carson Wentz's.
You think so?
It's like a Wario scenario here. You had Mario and Luigi, and then you had this Wario, which is like Mario with it upside down. So it became like the villain or the alter ego, if you will, the bad version of Mario, right? I don't know. I don't like the fact that those names are too close.
Can't they just call him Coach W or something?
Nah, you got the same initials, C-Dub, CW, all that's out the window now. You've removed... You don't think that it's bogging down Carson Wentz's judgment every time he goes back to throw the football, that he knows there's a guy on the team that shares a similar name to him?
I don't think so.
I put out a tweet today. All right. So I wanted to... I thought we could do this. It's probably something we should do on off the air as far as like Twitch in the break, as you know, if you're watching Mays and Eitan live in each and every break. But I put a tweet that out. It was just a joke, right? But I quoted this to make people believe that somebody
actually said it. I did see it, and I actually thought somebody said it on radio.
A lot of people did.
That's what I thought.
Quote, Carson Walsh's name is way too close to Carson Wentz, and it's hurting this team.
I saw that. Yeah. I saw that. I chose to sort of let that one go, and I figured you would eventually tell me what the story was. Yeah. I didn't know if you were driving back from Fox or something, listening to the radio, and somebody...
Chris Russo said it.
Some caller said it or something. I don't know.
It does. So what I was going to do, and it's funny you bring that up, what I was going to do is actually put a poll beneath that and say host/personality, meaning it could be somebody on TV.
Right.
Or the other option was caller. And see what got more... Now, who would get more votes in the sports landscape of Philadelphia? Who would get more votes? The option of host/personality or caller?
There's one host that I could actually hear it coming out of his mouth.
In the morning?
Yes. Yeah. I could actually hear it. In fact, when you tweeted it, that's what I thought you were listening to.
A lot of people did.
Okay?
A lot of people did. I should do that every day. Just try to
identify. It's hurting this team. I could just hear it. He's gotta go! Ow! I could hear it.
I love it.
But I would say probably more percentage would be on the caller.
On the caller.
Yeah.
Right. All right. What was the most impressive thing for you? If just take away Carson Wentz, all right, and not catches or plays made by people, but just Carson himself. Because now for 2 straight weeks, we're locked in. We know Carson is locked in, and he's going to be in a great position to win a football game at the end of every game, no matter, even if it's Dallas. But outside of that, forget the negative here. What was the most impressive thing for you coming away from that game yesterday, minus Carson Wentz's performance?
I just still go back to just the overall contribution from Boston Scott and Greg Ward that you've seen over the past 2 weeks, and I included yesterday. That's just, because I'm thinking that, maybe they're going to take a step back after a week, defensive coordinators looking at them in film. These guys were on a practice squad for a reason. There's got to be shortcomings to their game. We're going to figure out what they are and play, and they're not going to hurt us. Those guys made plays. Like he's targeting Ward. Routinely.
Like with confidence.
Yes.
Right.
Arcega-Whiteside got 2 targets and one was a drop, right? And he just has no confidence in him, and I don't blame him.
No,
but Ward, he is more. I mean, he threw the game winner to him.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, that wasn't Ertz.
No, Ward was a hell of an option on fantasy yesterday.
Oh yeah,
it cost $3,000 in the DK or whatever you're playing.
It's not better than Brashad Perriman would have been though. How about that move?
I think Perriman. You're right. I think Perriman was a little bit higher of a cost.
Well, probably
because Evans was out.
But
think about this. Nobody knew Chris Godwin was going to get hurt in that game. He had a hamstring injury.
I'll tell you, Jameis Winston.
I know
he throws it to the other team, but man, that guy's going to throw 3 or 4 touchdowns every week.
How old is he? 26?
He might be a little older.
Think about this. If you had... Really? He's 25.
No, he is 25?
No, he'll be 26 in January.
Okay. All right.
So here's the thing. If you need a quarterback, and you're not going to get Joe Burrow, right?
Right.
Are you really looking at taking a quarterback maybe in the back end of the middle first round, depending on where you are, or maybe like 8th overall? Or would you be interested in making a play for Winston?
You're assuming Tampa wants to give him up?
Maybe. I don't think that Bruce Arians and the Bucs are sold on this if they got an offer for him.
Arians has that offense humming, man. They're 7-7.
They are. And a lot of it is just... But here's the thing. Jameis Winston, I saw this thing, became the first quarterback to throw for over 450 back-to-back. How many quarterbacks are going out there trying to do that, though? It's not like everybody in the NFL, hey, man, Carson Wentz, we want you to throw for 450. So the game plan centers around that. Tom Brady threw for less yards than Andy Dalton yesterday, and the Patriots crushed the Bengals.
Well, all those turnovers.
Yeah, 4 interceptions, right. I just don't know... That's what I don't know about Jameis, is how much of it is
I don't think you're
him
ever gonna,
or hollow.
I don't think you're ever going to be able to coach the turnovers out of him. I just think that's...
You just deal with it?
Whoever's going to have him as their quarterback is going to have to deal with it.
Okay. So one thing that I think, for me, and you mentioned this as far as Ward and Boston Scott, let me add this as far as the biggest takeaway for me outside of Carson Wentz. I don't need this to be a season-long thing. I don't need it to be a career-long thing. But I have the utmost confidence right now, Harry Mays, that if the Dallas Cowboys' game plan is to limit whatever you get from Ward, Ertz, Goddard, and Scott specifically in the air, and they want to go tight, run the clock, run the football with Elliott and Pollard, we now have a guy in Miles Sanders who should be able to get 25 touches Sunday against the Cowboys and make a significant difference, or at the very least, Harry, keep their offense in that game.
I agree.
That's what the last, 2 weeks have done?
Yeah, with no Jordan Howard, they've been forced to utilize him, a lot more than they probably otherwise would. But the guy looks great.
Now Mosher texts us. He thinks Winston's a free agent.
Yes, and he's correct. I just looked it up.
Right. All right. So here's a question for you. You have the option of bringing in one of two guys. You need a quarterback. You're not going to get it in the draft. You're not going to make a trade because one of these guys is going to be available to you as a free agent. Ryan Tannehill, Jameis Winston.
Jeez.
Look, I don't think what happened yesterday with Ryan... People think that what happened with Tannehill over the last 6 games before yesterday was some fluke. They were 5-1 with Tannehill, and they were throwing the ball. It wasn't just Derrick Henry. And hell, he threw the ball to A.J. Brown second play of the game, 60 yards.
I just can't watch them, so I haven't been paying attention. The Titans could be the only game in town, and I wouldn't watch them.
I tell you, Derrick Henry is fun to watch. I know
if he was in a different uniform.
Maybe you have to get over that.
Yeah.
Who can I bring on from Nashville to convince you otherwise?
Nobody.
You sure?
No.
I mean, I've got some pretty convincing personalities down there we can go to.
Well, I got one too.
Well, yeah,
and that's probably some of the reason why I don't want to watch anything.
He's not
in Nashville.
from there.
I know
that doesn't count.
But he's there now.
He's there now, and I'd love to talk to Nick, but He's not. I'm talking about somebody born and bred
Oh.
in Nashville, Tennessee, that could speak to the volumes of importance in watching a guy like Derrick Henry. All right, so you would still go Winston.
I would go for door number 3.
Derrick Henry?
No, I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't really want to hitch my wagon to either one of them.
Yeah. Okay, that's
know
fair.
what I
I mean, look, I don't think this is like a bet where you're saying, no, I'm not going to bet that game. I was just saying if you had one or two options. All right, let's hit the text board, 609-403-0973. JR on the text board. Is it me, or are the sports writers in this town soft on Dougie P? I understand the team is battling injury issues, but barely beating the equivalent of Division II teams isn't acceptable. They don't hold his feet to the fire and only ask softball questions, shaking my head with an emoji of his hand to his face.
So, in other words, they should have beaten the Redskins by 30 yesterday?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I think that is the unfortunate...
more power to you, but with the way this team has looked all year long and the way this team has had to deal with significant injuries, I don't anticipate them beating anybody by significant numbers.
No, look, at this
I'm
point,
just like, just win the game.
Yeah.
Just win the damn thing.
Look, this might be what Seattle was trending towards before they got really Lockett the last couple of years and Metcalf last year. Before they had, remember, there was that little lull, right? Between
when Baldwin retired?
Yeah, there was that lull between when Lynch was out and where they are now with an immense amount of firepower with Carson and the 2 wide receivers they have, and before the tight end got hurt as well. I feel like we're at that point. Russell that's, I think, the testament. And I go back to Russell because I feel like that's when...
He's been through it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we saw a guy who relied on his athletic ability, and he relied on just really tight window throws that are short to medium, not throwing the ball 50 yards down the field at a time. That's, I think, it can be done in the NFL. And Carson Wentz is doing it right now. Look, it's 2 bad teams, Harry, but still, he doesn't have much.
It's not sustainable long term.
No.
But if they can just win one more game with it, they'll beat the Giants week 17. And then you're in the playoffs.
Correct. Mike Rainey, off today from the PO, wrapping the old lady's presents. Does Harry wrap his wife's presents, or does he make her do it? And don't forget to tip your mailman. Now, I've yet to tip my mailman.
Well,
what's the cutoff date for that before we get to the presents?
I think any time during the holiday season.
Okay, now...
including up to New Year's, I think you're still good.
Okay, that's fair. Now, what about the trash/recycling guys? Because it's 2 separate trucks.
Well, yeah, but it's the same. It's the same guys for me. The same guys come back around.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's the case here.
It's the same. It's the same garbage truck. It's the same dude.
All right, so I have to check that. Now, do you make the Lima wrap her own present?
I actually bought her a Christmas present yesterday.
You say actually? Is this a first?
No, I'm just saying it's funny that he brings this up now because I did.
From a timing standpoint.
Yeah, the timing standpoint. No, she does not wrap them.
Okay.
I am not good at wrapping. What I'm going to consider doing with this is probably just put the item inside the paper and just sort of tie it at the top. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm not wrapping at edges. And
you want me to wrap it for you? I'm the low rate on tackle,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I've signed up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just to wrap presents.
You're good at this?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm like you.
Yeah.
I'm totally devoid of wrapping capability.
And I've done it.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy doing it.
How often over, under... Josh, let's look at this real quick, all right, for Harry. Over, under... He's a little older than me, so I'm going to say... 5.5. Over under 5.5 presents given from Harry Mays to fill in the blank anywhere on the 50 plus years he's been on the planet, wrapped in newspaper. I'll take the over.
Yes. No, it is over.
I know
it is over.
I know
why?
Under? Have you not been paying attention to this show, Josh?
Do you know why? Because my one of my cool aunts, as when I was a kid, used to always bring the gifts wrapped in newspaper, the comics.
The comics.
It was always the comics.
Yes.
Like the Sunday comic section. So I grew up thinking that was cool to do.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? So I've done it.
Okay.
Now, I don't do it anymore, but
now,
I've done it.
Is wrapping a gift in the comics something you can get away with, or is it still socially unacceptable that you're handing something wrapped in newspaper?
Well, who's deeming this socially unacceptable?
Look,
people on Twitter?
No,
you know I really care about that.
No, look, people were judging gifts wrapped in newspaper far before the advancement and really invention
Judge away.
of Twitter.
I'll do it.
All right, just
maybe I will do. Maybe I'll bring that back.
John S. from Abington, tip the mailman. I didn't even know that was such a thing on the Twitch channel, Maze and Aton. Learn something new every day on this show.
Well, I got to tip the mailman, especially because I have one of those, mailboxes that has like 20 mailboxes in it.
Yep.
Where the guy opens up the door from behind it and stuffs all the mail in. And I only go and empty it like once a week.
Is that right?
So this poor guy is like trying to wedge in, all this junk mail on a daily basis, especially this time of year.
Oh my goodness.
And I only empty it out once a week because I just don't really. Very rarely do we get anything of note in the mail. A couple of bills here and there that we don't do online.
Right.
And other stuff is like it's all junk mail or trying to get you to buy something.
That's
right?
it. That's the difference.
So I'm not urgently going to get the mail on a daily basis. But this poor guy's got to, by Friday this thing's packed up, and he's got to wedge this stuff in there. So I got, I give him a tip. I give him a nice tip.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and now I know, and I'll be tipping my mail person as well because I believe that she comes by every day and she's the majority of the.
Mm-hmm. And if you have a cleaning lady or a cleaning person, you should give them a little extra something.
Yeah, I think that's standard.
I'm
right?
gonna start doing that in January.
I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I should be tipping that delivers or does a service for me now that I'm a homeowner, but I don't know. So coming up in 10 minutes, there's this audio. John Clark had it. And I know we're laboring John. It seems to be a very difficult thing. He's so busy.
Oh, dude.
We should just go to John on wherever we are. We want John to be on the show. We should just be like, dude, we're on noon at 2. Tell us where you'll be. I'll bring the damn thing.
Right,
we can jack in, even if it's at his office.
Well, we can do it at his house.
Yeah, that's fine, too. We do it here.
But here's the thing. Like, he got sick last week. He got sick on the flight home from Miami.
Oh.
Okay?
Well, we talked about that.
Got
All the stuff.
Yeah, all the stuff. And then, he also has tennis, he plays tennis in the afternoon some days during our show.
Dude, he's got to be a pain in the ass to get off the
I think he's pretty good.
I would imagine. Yeah. First off, he's athletic.
Yeah.
Second off, he's 6'6", 6'4", something like that.
Yeah, he's got a long reach.
I used to play tennis before, really like middle school. And the tall dudes who were athletic would just be able to command so much power. Tough to beat. All right. Carson Wentz might have inadvertently, and I don't think that he has any ill will or negative intent in his body here, but maybe, I don't know. Carson Wentz might have inadvertently thrown one, maybe two people under the bus. And I'll read it as far as D Mako 215 says on the Twitch channel, Maze and Aton. Wentz seems to be playing a lot better now that, quote, sources aren't on the field. Yeah. Make sure you come out Thursday to the King of Prussia location of Bury the Hatchet. We'll be live noon to 2 in King of Prussia. We'll be having giveaways. Sixers tickets were there. We also have an amazing night that we'll continue to tell about coming up in 3 weeks with Bury the Hatchet. It's going to be a major tournament. We've got a ton of prizes and tell you all about that as we get closer to it. But really, from Thursday's standpoint, come out, hang with us, use our promo code Harry50. And again, if you show up from noon to 2, use our promo code Harry50. Showing up from noon to 2, you can throw for those 2 hours for free. That's how crazy it is right now with us. Bury the Hatchet. We'll teach you how to throw 2 axes at the same time. Maze and Aton. We'll hit the text board here from Carson Wentz next.
You're listening to the Maze and Aton Show, presented by Dry Guys of South
Loyola Marymount. Plus 105. Like that? You looking at that?
No. Jeez. College basketball?
Yeah.
They're in that league with Gonzaga. Yeah. No, I don't know. I have no idea.
Friends at Bury the Hatchet take part in one of the fastest growing sports in the nation, axe throwing. Feel the thrill of axe throwing and compete against your friends and family in one of our 14 BYOB indoor facilities. Our axe masters will teach everyone how to stick it and keep your party moving with a variety of games like you've never experienced before. Birthday, bachelor, bachelorette party, corporate event, or just want a great time out with your friends, Bury the Hatchet will give you a night you'll never forget. Winter leagues are forming now, as well as our special Maze and Anytime League for all you listeners. Bury the Hatchet is the East Coast premier axe throwing company with locations right in your backyard in Cherry Hill and Toms River, plus Philadelphia, then Salem, Horsham, and King of Prussia. Use our promo code HARRY50 for 50% off. Your first 2 hours will be 50% off. Just use our promo code HARRY50. Bury the Hatchet. Go to burythehatchet.com.
Welcome to 2 Street and welcome to Toll Man Joe's. Toll Man Joe's in the heart of South Philly is Tony Bruno's home on Eagles game day and your spot for free. Free parking every Eagles game day. Get to Toll Man Joe's 3 hours before kickoff, 26 East Oregon Avenue. Hi, this is Tony Bruno. I'll see you on game day at Toll Man Joe's.
Covering Philadelphia and the suburbs with a tremendous history of great success in the real estate market, meet Kristen Thompson. A proud graduate of Villanova, Kristen has been in the real estate business for 20 years and specializes in buyers, sellers, and investors. You can call Kristen directly at the Keller Williams Realty Group, 215-429-2451, 215-429-2451. Kristen Thompson, your real estate advocate, who will work tirelessly on your behalf while ensuring the sale or the purchase is the easiest part of the process.
If you're a golfer looking to pick up a few strokes on the golf course, you should add these 4 words into your training and lifestyle. Traditional, Thai, yoga, massage. A Thai massage is relaxing and energizing without oil and designed to increase your flexibility. Try it now. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including a better score. Call Asan Thai Massage right now. 215-663-9376. 215-663-9376. Asan Thai Massage. They aim to heal.
This season, the Eagles pregame starts at Dunkin'. DD Perks members score a $1 medium hot or iced coffee on Eagles game days. So don't just celebrate the Eagles from the sidelines. Head to Dunkin' and get a kick before the kickoff. Plus, DD Perks members get a $1 medium hot or iced coffee the day after every Eagles win this season. Just use your Perks Enrolled Dunkin' card or show your loyalty ID. Eagles fans, run on Dunkin'. Excludes cold brew. Limit 1 per guest per visit. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. Here's a message for contractors and business owners concerned about the 2 minutes, guys. Make sure your commercial insurance coverage is right. Call Lighthouse Commercial Insurance. They can help. Let Lighthouse put together a comprehensive plan that is right for you for the right money. With 25 years of experience in the Philadelphia market, they know the most reputable and the most aggressive carriers. Give my friend Kevin a call at 800-691-1686 or visit them online today at www.lighthouseinc.biz. There are so many choices when it comes to selecting the right financial institution. Start with the Philadelphia Federal Credit Union. We're right here in your city. We're also the official credit union of Temple University, and anyone who lives, works, worships, and studies in Philadelphia can open an account. With convenient locations throughout our city of brotherly love. Also online at pfcu.com with free online and mobile banking. We're not here for our profit, here for yours. Federally insured by NCUA. Davio's Northern Italian Steakhouse is located on the 2nd floor of the historic Provident Bank Building in the heart of Philadelphia, near Rittenhouse. At Davio's, it's all about the guest. Davio's offers rooms available for large and small groups.
How much time?
Gracious hospitality and an entertainment dining.
50 seconds.
Guest an exceptional experience. At Davio's, it's all about the guest. Join us for power lunch.
Did you get that clip, Josh?
Or Sunday brunch. At Davio's.
Thanks, buddy.
So guys, how many of you did you have mini intro before you asked for
Yeah, absolutely.
shampoo in the shower? Quite a few, I imagine. Have you considered the importance of using a product designed for your hair? Yes, men's hair. After all, your hair is different. Dove Men Plus Care has created a hair care
Fucking
line
freezing
designed
out.
to fortify
Yeah.
men's hair and give
Thursday's
your
gonna be
hair to stay strong
like in the
and healthy.
20s.
Really?
Family and your hair a favor and get your own products. Dove Men Plus Care for stronger, more resilient hair. Available at
So
Walmart.
windy yesterday, or it would have been perfect to play golf.
To donate a slightly worn
Yeah,
coat or
really windy.
jacket. Help kids in need
Seemed like it was warm for just a nice little stretch, though.
Yeah, like at the start of the Eagles game, or like right before the Eagles game.
With Harry Mays and Eitan Shander, 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
Before we get to this Carson Wentz audio from John Clark yesterday, Fister Ball on the Mays and Eitan channel, Mays and Eitan. Twitch.
On Twitch.
Yes,
Yeah.
on Twitch. Raises an interesting point here, and I don't know, I'm sure someone like Mike Rainey is going to be like, whoa. Post office goes first in the hierarchy of things, but what about the UPS / FedEx driver? I just got stuff dropped off. We thought it was a bomb that dropped up here. It was really just UPS.
See, you should be having the UPS / Amazon box driver over for Thanksgiving and
Is that
Christmas dinner. I mean, you should have they
should have me over.
Well, they're a part of your family. I mean,
That's what I'm
they're
saying.
here at your house more than I am.
I put a turkey on at least 3 Amazon drivers in the greater Willow Grove area. I've put at least 3 turkeys on their table based on all the crap that I've gotten here.
Yeah. I mean...
What was that?
No, I'm just saying, like, you've got boxes literally coming here, like, on a daily basis.
Well, this time it wasn't me. This time it was the other person who lives in this house.
Oh, the old lady?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you think I'm getting a plastic car? It was kitty coop. That's what was delivered.
Well, I didn't
That's
know
what
it
sounded
was.
like a bomb dropping above us.
Oh,
was
okay.
Was the UPS person.
But I'm saying there's
so
somebody...
do you tip those people as well?
I think you should, because they're...
Well, forget me. What would you do? What
Well,
would Harry
I
do?
don't have boxes coming to the house.
You never get like an envelope or a FedEx, something like that?
There, the wife might get 3 or 4 boxes.
Okay, that's not much.
And that's not a lot.
All right. That's not enough to...
No, and if there's a tip, it's going to come out of her end.
Okay, that's fair. Like it would be for
You know what I'm saying?
That's fair. So the individual covers it. All right, we're going to hit the text board, 609-403-0973. People ask on Twitch, and we give responses. That's what it's there for, especially in the breaks here. But before we do that, let's listen to Carson Wentz talk with John Clark.
Post-game?
This is post-game. Yeah. And it's really about the difference of what he's seeing both in the huddle and on the field.
Tell me what you've seen in their eyes. Were they eager? Were they wide-eyed? What is that?
The eager is what I see. The eagerness and the belief and the confidence. And for us, the last couple of weeks, just the trust. Me trusting them trusting me that we're going to get this done. And being able to go do that the last 2 weeks has been huge for us.
Tell me what you've seen in their eyes. Were they eager? Were they wide-eyed? What is that?
The eager is what I see. The eagerness and the belief and the confidence. And for us, the last couple of weeks, just the trust. Me trusting them trusting me that we're going to get this done. And being able to go do that the last 2 weeks has been huge for us.
Tell me what you've seen.
What is going on here? Is there any reason why we heard that twice, almost 3 times? Is that on a loop?
Well, just so you know, in case you missed it, I see, right?
Jesus.
Why am I?
What does
It's
that?
pretty-
What
it's
does that
pretty
say
telling.
to you?
It's
That's
pretty telling,
That's
let's
pretty
say.
telling to me.
Yeah.
That's telling me that Nelson Aguilar ain't eager.
Nope.
Nelson Aguilar has no trust, nor do I have any trust in him.
Exactly.
And Alshon Jeffrey, you're a POS.
Yep. I tell you, the level of exhale
Yeah.
with Carson Wentz now on the field with God, and it's not hurting them at the very least. I don't know how much you're going to build around Greg Ward and Boston Scott.
No,
but
no.
if you have these guys as cheap options on a team that has better skill set guys, like, hey, Miles Sanders right now is a better running back than Boston Scott, but you can still use Boston Scott in the game plan.
Can be used
Absolutely.
as a third running back.
Just
Yeah,
like you
absolutely.
could bring in a guy to replace an Aguilar or even Alshon and still get value out of Greg Ward.
Right, as a third or fourth wide
Absolutely,
receiver, whatever,
man.
or in the return game, whatever it is.
But the fact that there is hunger, the fact that there is trust.
Pretty crazy. Trust is a big word.
Seriously.
On both ends.
Now, I bring this up not to say that it's the similar situation as far as the Eagles are going to go out and win a Super Bowl, but remember, there was this same type of feel and same type of shift for 2 straight years. One in which they won the Super Bowl.
Because the quarterback changed.
But also this element of trust in the locker room. Remember, Harry, we're not a year away from guys on defense building a shrine to Nick Foles. Remember Chris
yeah, that's
Long?
right.
They built a shrine to Nick Foles.
Shrine.
You can't tell me, as 2 straight years of it working opposite Carson Wentz, that now it's not going to benefit working favor of Carson.
I think our buddy Loke bought that shrine. I think he actually donated money to a charity to get the shrine from Chris Long.
Not the Schwein.
No.
The shrine.
He was on display on Sunday doing
Full
a show.
display?
I know, at Toll Man Joe's. Josh, you got to tell us, how did that go? I heard it was a big turnout.
Were you there?
No, but I'm sure he was doing the show from the studio. He does every show.
Well, maybe they piped in crowd noise to make it sound like...
Sunday's my only day off.
Oh, you were off?
Yeah. Come on, you're having this guy work on his day off?
Okay, so who ran the board? Was it Hunter or something? Oh, okay. Is he there today?
No, he's done with our show.
He's
Hunter communicated to me that everything went smoothly on Sunday.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
6
I heard some of the broadcasts and it sounded
Because Bruno did the show in transit to FedEx Field.
I'm not sure who was more impressed, honestly. People like me knowing how hard it is to do that and make it sound good,
Mm-hmm.
or Bruno himself who said multiple times, I can't believe we're doing this.
Look, man, I have to be honest. Doing a show in a car is like, that's not difficult.
No, not difficult to do. It's difficult from a technical. How did they do it on a technical standpoint?
They probably had an air card.
Yeah, look,
Oh, okay.
Michael Smirkanis used to do this every year. I don't know if he still does, but he would broadcast his show live on September 11th, going out to Swanksville,
Oh, okay.
and where Flight 93 hit. And he would do this, so there was this live... Now, again, this is... I worked with Michael 12 years ago, so nowhere near this level of technology. I think they had a POTS line, and they were dialing in off a phone line.
Wow.
Now, this one was done off Wi-Fi, is what you're saying?
Well, technically it's called MiFi.
Mm.
You create a hotspot.
Right. It's a cell phone based server
Right.
instead of a wireless internet server.
Right. Okay.
Wow.
There you
Impressive.
Now you know way more information you ever wanted to know.
There you go. Fisterball reminding us, don't forget your teachers, your kids' teachers.
I don't have kids.
Well, you should be donating then to one of your neighbor's kids.
And we never gave our teachers money when I was a kid.
No, you give them gift cards. That's what you do. Fiance gets tons of gift cards.
Yeah?
Coffee gift cards, movie gift cards, all this crap. It just piles up. 609-403-0973.
It's kind of bribery, is what it is.
Well, it's at the end of the year. It's not at the beginning of the year. Hey, you know, why don't you give my kid an A? Here you go, some gift card. When you're acting like it's
The end of the year.
Yeah.
The year ends in June.
Right.
Well, this is halfway through the year.
No, I'm not saying, in this case, it's not for a holiday. Usually the gifts for, at least for my fiance and I think for her school, a lot of these gifts come at the end of the year.
Well, see, if they're going to gift, they got to gift at the holiday, and that way you can buy yourself some grades in the second semester.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Now I'm going to read you this text.
I totally threw you for a loop.
No, what threw me for a loop, something is going on here. I don't know if more packages have arrived or if somebody is breaking into the studio.
Did the dog do something?
I think so. Here we go. 609-403-0973. The Cowboys are on fire? Come on, Eitan. They had a good game yesterday at home. That's their first win in the last 4 games. That's a bit extreme to say they're on fire. We'll see on Sunday. Go Birds.
Who said on fire?
I did. I said the offense right now comes into this game. Yeah,
I just said that they clicked.
No, I think the offense has been dormant, and that's how. Look, they've been one of the best offenses all year, and they've been dormant, and they've still been able to play decent.
But that was their first win over a team above 500.
Okay.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, and I honestly think that's an overrated stat. The Eagles have lost to a couple of really bad teams this year. Good teams lose to bad teams. It happens. You want to isolate.
I know, but I mean, the Eagles beat the Packers. You know, the Eagles have beaten.
Well, here's the thing: the Eagles are not a winning football team right now. They're not above 500.
No, there's 500.
Right. So that stat doesn't apply to Philadelphia yet.
No.
It would apply to them if the Eagles beat them, and then they could go back and say, "Oh, look, their record's a little different when they beat the Eagles earlier in the season, but they weren't even above 500 then." Right?
The Packers were.
No, I'm saying the Eagles.
Oh.
The Eagles. When the first time the Dallas Cowboys beat the Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That was during that stretch where they got boat raced by Minnesota and Dallas back to back, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. All right, 609-403-0973. And again, I just think that this offense that's been the highest scoring, or one of the highest, and one of the fastest, if not the fastest paced offenses all year, you get a game like that, it's not about, okay, show me again. It's, you've seen that consistently. It's just a couple of losses. That's the problem. Consistency isn't every single game they've been blowing the doors off, but more often than not. It's really difficult to be a bad football team and have one of the league's top best ranked offenses in the NFL. I mean, the Bucs are slowly there, but look, the Bucs are 500.
Their defense is no good.
And their defense doesn't exist.
Terrible.
Does Bruce Arians even have anybody coaching that defense?
I know Byron Leftwich is the offensive coordinator. I'm not sure who's the defensive coordinator. Oh, it's Bowles. Todd Bowles.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Because he played for Arians at Temple.
No.
Back in the 80s.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Bowles got fired by the Jets, and he
Sure.
brought him down there.
That was it.
Threw him a life raft.
All right.
Just to go over the news, though, from the press conference today. Doug P. on the
Was there news?
Well, on the injured players and whether they were going to be getting them, any of them back. That was the first question. He said, "That's a great question." He
Which
said
means no.
They're trending in the right direction,
Yeah.
but progress is slow.
Again, I asked you this question on a Monday because I asked you this, I think, last Friday. But are you really going to tell me right now? Alshon Jeffrey, yes. I don't care if the two guys hate each other. Kobe and Shaq hated each other. I don't care if Alshon Jeffrey and Carson Wentz hate each other. You make it work for at least 2 more weeks, if not this week. But my contention now, Harry Mays, is that the combination of what I just heard from Carson Wentz with the productivity I've seen on the field, with the lack of interest, intent to do well, and just play well from Aguilar, Nelson Aguilar returning to this team, even against Dallas, makes this team worse.
Yeah, I don't know about worse, but I don't know that it makes them better. You know what I mean? It'd be nice if you could get Derek Barnett.
Well, I don't know what's going on as far as how he's trending. I'd much rather have Lane Johnson than anybody that's available.
Lane Johnson too.
But I don't know what Nelson Aguilar does for this team anymore, except take away a look from Greg Ward or Boston Scott. I'd much rather them find ways to get Boston Scott more involved in the passing game, knowing that you have Miles Sanders that you can put in the backfield now for 25, 30 snaps at least as an ISO back and move Scott around. I'd much rather see that than try to force a guy who has no trust in the quarterback and is getting zero trust in return from Wentz.
Yeah. I don't know how much he really wants to play anyway this year for this team. Yeah, I think he's already kind of mentally moved on.
It's not a good sign, man. That's how difficult is this? Yes, D'Amico215 agreed. IR Aguilar. How difficult is this, right? Where normally you'd say just get everybody back, just return everybody as fast as possible, and now you're actually saying, hey, this guy's checked out. You've been there before. You've come in on a Monday knowing, man, my vacation starts on Thursday. Let me just get to Thursday. And by the time you hit Wednesday, your mind is gone.
Checked out. I was classic for that.
You were known for that.
Yeah.
In the building. You were
Is
known.
that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good.
I didn't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know that.
People refer to you as Harry checked out on vacation a day from now, end quote, Mays.
Speaking of vacation, Gil's back today, isn't he?
Well, I think mandatory he has to be back for this week.
Right.
And then he'd take another
And then he's
week
going to take another week.
Right.
So he's probably checked out.
Correct. All right, real quick, Josh, on our way into break, if you can play that Carson Wentz clip for us one more time. We'll hit some text before we get out of here.
Play it 2 back-to-back.
You know what? You can make it a hit record if you want, like Diddy, just sampling it over and over and over again. One more time. There we go.
Listen to Mays and Aton anywhere.
Was that on purpose?
I have no idea. Now, 97.
Ace.
It's the Monday night countdown to kickoff. This and every Monday night with Mr. Monday Night, Tony Bruno. Mr. Monday Night is here from 6 to 8
Hey.
p.m. live from the landmark Americana in Glassboro. I'm ready for on 97.3 ESPN, 6 to 8 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. The place is there football. It's the Monday Night Football countdown to kickoff on 97.3 ESPN. I am so ready for football season. Are you? You better be college with a huge day on Saturday, pro football on Sunday. Make sure you bet with the best. My guys at the #1 casino in Pennsylvania, Parks Casino and Sportsbook. My guys at Parks Casino and Sportsbook have it all in person or online. Download the Parks Casino Sportsbook app right now in the App Store. Go to parkscasino.com/PA. Use promo code SWEEP, 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 to get a risk-free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit. Parkscasino.com/PA and PARX Casino.com/PA and use promo code SWEEP to get your risk-free bet of up to $250. Parks Casino and Sportsbook. My guys, they should be the guys you trust
This
as
thing's
well.
fucking huge, dude.
Sports bets, points
He's
spread,
killed most of the squeakers, but
Sign up
still a
now
couple
and
left.
Get it.
Get it. Get it. Isan Thai Massage. That's some shady shit, man.
With this thing?
Yeah. Good amount of views.
Yeah.
On the Twitch, yeah.
Dude, that tweet reviewing the football helmet.
Oh, yeah. How good is
Oh, my
that?
God.
They had it in the back, and I was sitting
Oh,
there.
it was there?
Yeah. It's I think they had Alex wear it one day. And
Oh.
it was some stupid thing when I think it was like something with the helmets. Wasn't there something wrong with the helmets or something? Oh no, I think it was during the whole Antonio Brown thing, where he refused to wear a helmet. I think they were joking about that. So it was in the back there, and they were doing this really serious segment. So I didn't want to come out with it. And then I was like, I'll just put it on the desk there and have it in front. And then one of the producers was like, just put it on. I was like, all right. But halfway through, I'm sweating now. So halfway through, I'm talking, and I was like, just don't even acknowledge that I'm wearing it. Let's just talk back and forth like I'm not even wearing it. And then halfway through, I'm sweating. Fucking ridiculous.
I'm like, what part of don't embarrassment did he not understand? People were sending it to me.
Yeah, that's
like
pretty
pictures
funny.
of it.
That's good.
Like,
I'm glad they were watching.
they're watching you.
Yeah. No, it's amazing how many people watch that channel. I can't believe it. It's ridiculous. Legends of the Hidden Temple. Have you ever see this game show? Where's your baby? Hmm?
Simply call Jim at 215-354-0122. That's 215-354-0122.
Legends of the. You never saw that game show?
No.
I, as an independent agent, charge a fee versus going direct to
Maybe it's
Geico,
too late.
going direct to Progressive.
Obvious, though.
We do not charge fees. Let Val Insurance
Yeah.
40% on your car insurance.
Retweets on the fan.
Yeah.
Review. Call Jimmy O'Brien directly at 215-354-0122. 215-354-0122. Your savings are a phone call
People
away.
are not paying attention.
Season gets a Screwball Sports Bar and Grill in King of Prussia, voted one of the 10 best sports bars in Pennsylvania. It's college game day, football Sunday plus Monday night football, and a
Was he
special
tweeting his ass off during the game yesterday?
kickoff show with the Tony Bruno Show.
Oh, I'm
every
sure.
Thursday
Hey,
starting at 6 p.m.
stop that.
Get the daily specials on Facebook and find your way to Screwball Sports Bar and
You want to chew something? You chew this,
Screwballs, where sports people go.
right? Look at this. Look what I got.
Norvell Pelly?
Who?
Norvell Pelly? Is it Pell or Pelly? Guy
Norvell.
from St. John's. That's the Sixers.
Oh, I think it's Pell, isn't it?
Is it Pell?
P-E-L-L-E.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. Ace.
Because we believe there's caring in all of us. Independent Blue Cross. Learn more at IBX.com.
Shander on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
Now, I'll just direct you to Twitter because you can read the type of responses we get from @Bruno's cousin
Oh, man.
during the break. Just to let you know that we are live, we are active on Twitch, Maze and Aton, throughout the whole show. When we say whole show, we mean in the break. So if Josh is talking to us down the line, if we're talking to each other, if the dog comes in, jumps up on Harry, you get to see it all. You get it all. Every single second of the show. 609-403-0973.
I don't understand that tweet that we got.
From Bruno's cousin?
Yeah.
Well, he's saying that we mentioned this game show in the break, Legends of the Hidden Temple, which apparently is getting rebooted. I don't remember it.
I've never
We've
heard
never
of it.
seen it. So instead, Bruno's cousin suggests that, yeah, you never saw Legends of the Hidden Temple, but you have seen a parody porn flick.
Oh.
That is parodied off of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
I never got into those parody flicks.
It's too much of a distraction.
Yeah.
I mean, can we be honest? I don't want to see
need
somebody.
that.
Yeah,
I don't need that.
I don't need. Like, think about this. Do you want to think? Like, can you imagine how much? Because a lot of the parodies are comic book movies, right? Spider-Man, Superman, they all get parodied in porn.
Yeah.
Can you imagine somebody like Josh, who is a comic book purist when it comes to these movies, and then the level of desecration, not only to the character, Harry, but involving it in porn on top of it.
He's a Marvel maven.
Stop.
Yeah.
That's not true. Let's say something straight. First of all, parody is totally different than desecrating a character. They're two different things.
You sure? Have you ever seen the Superman porn parody?
No, but that's not my problem. My problem is when people pretend like something is quality and then it's not. Like, for example, all the people out there who love the first two Fantastic Four movies in the early 2000s, they were not quality movies. They were barely based on the character. People act like they were good just because they think Jessica Alba's hot.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
No, I didn't think you would.
Yeah.
As soon as he
And
mentioned,
I'm glad about that.
well, I'm sure.
You're better off not seeing
You are proud of your ignorance to the Marvel DC comic book world, like I wear my ignorance of Lizzo on my sleeve.
I saw Lizzo on TV again today.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't.
She's a star. A
Pop,
big
well,
star.
listen, pop rap sells, so I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. 609-403-0973. Well, porn parodies are quality work. And to be fair, porn parody comes under the umbrella of porn. Just like Lizzo's pop rap comes under the umbrella of pop rap. So I guess, in that regard, if you're pop rap, you're going to sell.
All right, now. All right, let's get to what happened in the Cowboys game yesterday, because I was thoroughly confused.
It shouldn't be any confusion.
Well,
I didn't even bring this up because I thought it was.
I never even heard of this. Where Dak Prescott apparently said, "We want to kick."
He did say defer.
He did, but only the third time, when he was asked, because the official kept on saying he was trying to lead him to the proper term. I didn't know you had to say defer.
Well, here's the thing, Dak, and I hate to take the guy's side, but kind of have to in this case. Dak describes deferring, and then says defer.
Right.
So he describes what deferring is.
Right.
And the ref, nobody ever, we would have to research how often a team goes into a game and kicks the first half and then kicks the second half willingly.
I think it's happened once, maybe in the 60s. I think somebody
is
brought
that
it up.
right?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my God!
I didn't know
I
this
thought you
was
were
a
saying
thing.
over the last 5 years.
No, I didn't know this was a thing.
No, it wasn't a thing. What looked to be the situation, Harry, is the ref simply didn't hear it. I heard the audio replayed. Dak saying defer is pretty loud and clear in the clip. And what he does is he describes. It would be like you describing something and then saying the word to
But
follow.
apparently, if you don't say defer, you kick the ball to start the first half and the second half. That's a possibility. I didn't know that was possible.
If you don't.
Remember, guys, the first thing he said was, "We want it."
Right. That's what he said first.
And then he says that direction, and then the official says, "So."
Which one is it?
I was confused.
Right, and then he did not. Then the official was confused. He did not hear the word defer. So what confused the official was not Dak not leading with defer. It was trying to do two things. You only get to do one. You either determine who gets the ball or which direction
which
you go.
goal you want to
Correct.
defend. Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's what confused. But when he said kick, he was explaining a defer. Except then he went and talked about the direction, and that's what threw everybody for a loop. Correct. But the reality, though, is that this really was much ado about nothing.
Well, they should have reviewed Derek Carr's.
Oh, here we go again. It's some bad beat.
Costing me damn money.
The hell you do? It's like the same people who thought that Falcons-Niners game would go under. I saw Josh text us earlier that last second. Look, I got burned on the money line.
I had Atlanta.
Well, I had Atlanta on one series, but I had a heavy favorite parlay in another bet where that was New Orleans.
I had a great weekend if it weren't for the freaking Raiders.
Okay.
The golf.
You shouldn't be betting on Oakland.
The Navy.
Like you shouldn't be betting on that under on a San Francisco Atlanta game. Oh, real quick, you brought up Navy. Army. The head coach, one of the most. This wasn't irresponsible. The clock is already running. They had an opportunity to stop the clock and get the ball back at the end of the game, except they let it run and run and run. And only until there was one play in which they thought they could stop the clock and maybe prevent Navy from at least scoring. Army called an unnecessary timeout. Navy's like, what are you doing? We've been running the clock out here. You've been allowing us to run the clock out. So Navy turns around and they run a play. Instead of what would be just kneeling it, they ran a play and they scored because Army sucks. What an insult to Navy to call that timeout there at the end of the game, and to your kids as well that you're coaching, putting them in such an unsportsmanlike situation.
Wow, the outrage.
Army should be fired. Army's football should be disbanded. Go protect us. That's what we need you for, not to play football. Yeah, I lost on that NBA, by the way. Bullshit. Does Harry change clothes? Hey! He likes that top. It's a nice one.